Hello everyone, this is PHTV4. I'm Sue Jankowski. Welcome to Meet with Moraine. We do this every month so you can learn more interesting facts about Moraine Valley Community College, which is located in Palos Hills. You've probably been over there. You probably even have taken some classes over there. So this is exciting because you're going to find out some really great information that I think all of us have been talking about lately. Today we have Dr. John Sands with us. Welcome, John, to our program today.
Glad to be here.
Yes, nice to have you. John is the Professor of Information Technology and Department Chair of the Computer Integrated Technology Department. John, that's really a mouthful of stuff that you have to do. So let's talk a little bit about you, first of all, your background and what led you to go to Moraine Valley.
All right. Well, my background, I grew up in the Chicago area and was in the Navy for a stint. And then when I got out of the Navy, I came out as an engineer. So I have an engineering background, but I always had an interest in education. So worked at a couple of places in the South Suburban area, and way back in the 1980s, a position opened at Moraine, and it was a place that at the time was growing, and I felt it would be a good match, never knowing I'd be there as long as I have.
It worked out for you.
It worked out pretty well.
So when you started, information technology wasn't so rampant as it is now. What did you begin there as?
I was actually hired at Moraine as an electronics instructor, and that evolved into teaching the first computer classes. So I taught a computer maintenance class, and then my area brought in the first network at Moraine, the first email system. So we started an information technology program, and then in the 2000s we started the first cybersecurity program. In fact, we had one of the first cybersecurity programs at a community college in the country. We became a national center for teaching cybersecurity. And as AI emerged, it was a big topic in cybersecurity, so it was something that we had to be on top of. And I'm one that likes to be involved in the new technologies, so I jumped right in, and it's been good for college and good for our students.
Well, that's amazing. It just kind of moved and enlarged and changed a little through time, which all technology has. So
Yes.
It's nice that you're so interested in it, that you were welcoming that, because it's a little, and we'll talk about that in a minute, but it's a little bit overwhelming when you think about the technology and particularly some of the things we're going to talk about. But first, what do you enjoy most about your role as a professor of this?
I really like the community college setting. One of my favorite parts of being a community college faculty is just seeing our graduates all over the area, all over the Chicago area. So whether it's in the hospitals, the manufacturing areas, I run into our students everywhere. And a lot of them come back to visit. We've even had some come back and help us teach. So to me, that's sort of the difference between teaching high school and other areas, is that we are really impacting the local workforce.
And I think when you get into education, that's the reward. You know, when you see that you've made a difference in someone's life, and then they come back and tell you about it. That's even better. So it's a very nourishing, rewarding career. So congratulations on that. So what do you usually teach? I mean, I guess it's obviously changed over time.
It's changed
so you've got to be very flexible.
Yes, like I said, I started teaching electronics back almost 40 years ago. I still teach some of the computer maintenance programs and IT classes. I also teach cybersecurity, and now I'm teaching artificial intelligence.
Okay, so that is what our topic is really today. So Moraine Valley received a nearly $1 million grant from the National Science Foundation so that the faculty could become familiar with and teach AI. So, grants are great, and you have to do so much to get a grant. What inspired you to just go after this?
I've had a long history of bringing grants to college, working with the National Science Foundation, the National Security Agency with cybersecurity. But seeing the impact that AI is having in cybersecurity, I felt it was absolutely critical that our faculty have at least a literacy of AI. Our students are already using it, so and it's not going anywhere. It's here to stay. So I think it's critical that our faculty members understand what it is, how it works, some of the threats that it poses, and then some of the amazing things that can help us do in teaching and learning.
I think when we as the general population are kind of unfamiliar with AI or artificial intelligence, and we see the abundance of things that are happening with it, it is a little daunting for people to think, okay, is this going to take over everything and we have no control over anything and we're not ever going to talk to another person again. So can you kind of give us an idea about what is artificial intelligence? Are we going to have all robots talking to us? I mean, that's what people think. So,
yes.
And the answer is yes, we're going to have all robots talking
No,
to us.
the answer is not yes there necessarily, but there's many different flavors of AI. There's machine learning and generated data. So and there's going to be the cobots now, and there's artificial intelligence in our cars. I mean, we're pretty much living with it now. We don't realize it in many cases, but it's going to take a much more pronounced impact on our lives. And part of the things that I'm really concerned about is that it's really easy to create content and create things with AI. So we have to understand that we need to question everything. We need to know how to use it ethically, but we also need to know how to leverage it. A lot of people just use AI as like a sophisticated search engine, but it can really create unbelievable content in the classroom. It can create greater engagement in the classroom. And then when we start looking at how it's going to impact our students when they get in the workforce, it's going to be a really transformative and disruptive technology in the next 4 or 5 years. I predict they're saying, 92 million jobs will be replaced, and hopefully they're talking 95 or 96 million new jobs, but that's a huge disruption to the workforce, and I think as educators we need to be prepared for it.
So, with the disruption for the workforce, but yet it'll create a work. What are you having to learn if you're getting a job that an AI situation has taken over what you do? Do you, it's very confusing to me. Do you go back to school and learn something else, or are you in charge of AI technology? I mean, are people learning that so that they have a job?
There's many facets. I'm really concerned about it across multiple disciplines. So not necessarily the AI experts, but how just general workers are going to use it, all right? Just general employees. And I'd say there's two main areas that we really need to focus on in education. One is that we need to use it. There's a lot of faculty members that just want to walk away and say, but it's not going away. Our students are using it, so we need to know how to use it ethically, and we need to use it effectively. But part of that is just like using any other tool, is when it creates things, we have to teach them how to look at that information and validate that data. That's going to be absolutely critical. And it's part of what I'm doing in the cybersecurity area. We're using it to help us do threat management. Well, when it generates that information that we identify threat management, we need to go through and find out, was it correct? Is this information correct that it's generating? Because we can control how it learns, but it will also learn on its own. And that's the part that we got to be really careful of.
Especially, I would think, with the younger people who are eager to use it. I mean, I have people in my family who are all about it. They're all using it, and I'm like, well, are you going to actually learn anything? Because you just tell your chat box or whatever it's called, you just say, hey, I need a report on this, and it just does it.
Exactly.
And so you didn't learn anything, and then you have a teacher who has to cipher out, did you do any of this, or did you learn anything by this? How do you go about doing that?
Yeah, it's not the first time we've had this happen. I remember back in high school when calculators came out, and there was a big uproar that we're never going to learn the basics of math. So the point is, it can be used as a crutch, and we are going to have to take steps and maybe teach things differently so that students still get that foundational knowledge. But again, we have to also teach them how to use it ethically and how to check everything that it generates, and also how to use it so that it generates what we're looking for. Because just because you tell it to write a paper doesn't necessarily it's going to meet the requirements of what that paper was, right?
Okay.
And there are cases where we don't want them using AI. We don't want them to use AI to alleviate them from having to write things. I mean, they still have to have basic writing skills. But where we do want them to use it is maybe to make the things look better, to help us do deeper research and so on. We talk about in the classroom that we want learning to continue after the classroom. It just doesn't end from what the instructor puts out and what we teach in our textbooks. And that's where AI can really be useful. And it can also really be useful in engaging students. We can create things that are just unbelievable today with AI that make learning much more relevant and do a much better job of engaging students and result in much deeper learning.
Now, back to the faculty for a minute. So you have, some people who kind of drag their feet a little bit because they don't want to do it. I got to tell you, I'm one of those people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I don't think this is so good. But now, you're faculty, you really have to become aware of what's what in that world. Have they kind of slowly become like, okay, fine, I'm going to learn this, but I don't even want to?
Yeah, that's part of what I've been doing over the last year is traveling the country, teaching faculty members why they need to know this technology and how it can actually change the way they teach. We've talked for years about flipping the classroom, and this is a technology that will really enable us to do that. I can create exercises within seconds that, let's say a student comes in and they need a review in certain types of math. I can create little games for them or interactions for them that catch them up. And they can play those things at home. And not only that, but it can also report back to me how well they're doing on those things. I can also use it to give me feedback on things like exams and different types of assessments, so I know what types of things to focus on in the classroom. So it really is a transformative technology, and we're just scratching the surface of it. But it's in every field. We're not going to get away from it. It's in the medical field. I mean, it's in the automotive. It's in manufacturing. So students are going to have to leave understanding how to use it and how to use it ethically.
Well, I can see where that's a really great tool for teaching and then leading to a lot of other things. And I know I've heard in the medical profession, it just expands knowledge for those doctors, physicians who need more information or need to learn something new. So in that regards, that is a good thing. And you're right, it is here. And I guess some of us have to stop, putting on the brakes for that. But I know some people are actually required in their job when they're creating any kind of document or maybe planning a presentation, they are actually required to use AI. And so do you find that to be true?
Yeah, I can just give you one simple example. I teach a cybersecurity course. And a big program today is something called the Cybersecurity Maturity Model, where all 250,000 contractors across the country have to meet cybersecurity audit requirements, federal audit requirements. Well, I can teach our students how to take those federal standards and build tools to help companies locally address those requirements and then help them pass audits and ultimately not just pass audits, but ultimately bring their companies to a level where they're secure enough where the federal government can now trust them as contractors. But that's just one example. I mean, there's examples across every industry. Believe it or not, I'm working with people in the automotive industry. You wouldn't believe the technology and how we're using AI in cars today. And that goes across into manufacturing. It goes across into just about all the healthcare areas. So it's something that we're going to have to teach in just about all of our classes, to be honest, all of our current technical classes.
Okay, so this isn't new. It's been around for a while, but right now it seems to be something everyone is talking about, and it seems to be becoming more prevalent. So, what would you say to people who really were unaware that it's actually been around and are like panicking a little bit because of what I've already said, it's going to take over everything and we're not going to be able to, I have a really good imagination, so I picture robot dogs, you got to stay in your house. I mean, I've got the science fiction all over. So, I think some of those things, we see science fiction movies and we see stuff like that. And what would you say to people when they get, kind of get that imagination overload?
Just like any other technology, I think it's absolutely critical, especially for educators, to teach students what this is all about. That there can be really terrible results of this. So, but it's in our hands. So as educators, I think we need to be leaders in shaping it. and having an understanding of how it works, and really encouraging people to use it more than just like a search engine, but to actually create things. And the more we do that, the more we understand its capabilities, and the more we'll understand how it's going to impact different vocations and careers that are out there. There's a worry that it's going to replace a lot of different types of jobs. But I think what's going to happen is a lot of these jobs are going to require that basic knowledge that they had in the past, but also how do I use this tool to make our organization more effective, more profitable, and so on. And there is a happy medium there. Although every day you see a show on TV. I seen one yesterday on a Chinese company building cobots or robots, and they're making them look like people.
Yeah.
And they literally had to cut them open to prove to people, because they walk like people, they shape them like people. There's female and male and so on.
Wow.
Right? So we could go down some really scary directions if we don't have an understanding of it and really take control of it as citizens.
That's amazing. So I did see on TV, they showed an actress who is complete AI, and she was, made to look great and like something you could accept. She looked like a person, and she did. I don't know if she was singing or whatever, but a lot of these songs. I mean, are we going to need singers and actors and all of this? And are we going to know? I mean, she was so real. That how do you teach people to know the difference? Can you know the difference? And is that something that can be learned? And when they show you news clips of things or animals doing things, you're like, okay, I don't think an animal would do that.
Right.
So,
right.
I mean, you're constantly having to question everything. But how do you get to the truth?
Yeah, I mean, part of it is just questioning things, and I think we're going to have some regulations on it so that people have to disclose that this was made by AI. Because if you look at a lot of the podcasts out there today, they'll take a person's image, they'll give it a script, and it basically develops the entire podcast. And I have the ability to do that with one of my classes. I can basically take a lecture, feed it into a tool, and it will create a complete podcast with all the tools, and even have, if I wanted to, I could actually have it use my voice. Wow. And my image.
Oh my
gosh.
So,
yeah, those are things, even in this industry, I can say, make a 10-minute or 10-second clip, let's say, in downtown Chicago on the lakefront with two people holding hands and, let's say, promoting a particular product. It will generate it. And I don't have to worry about, is the sun out? I don't have to worry about, are there people in the background? So it's going to be a disruptive technology, and we're going to have to learn how do we incorporate this and how do we manage it. It's going to be different than any technology we've had in the past.
I remember that probably a year or two ago, whoever kind of came up with this, and I don't know if it's an individual person or it's just kind of morphed into this, but that those big leaders of technology said this is going to be a rather significant problem. And so we have to be aware now that this is a problem. But they didn't say how to resolve it, and they also didn't stop it. So now we have to deal with problems. So is there going to be like a department of falsely documented AI products or whatever? Is this maybe?
And there's a lot of talk. I go to Washington, D.C. quite a bit. I talk to some of the leaders in this industry. There's going to have to be some controls over it. The problem we're concerned about is that this is a worldwide technology, so we don't want to fall behind, right? But yet we have to have some controls because it does have the ability to just totally disrupt everything and make a citizenry where they don't believe anything, right? So, and that's the part that scares me the most. I mean, I can tell you an example. I taught a class about a month ago. And I had a Japanese lady in the class, a teacher from University of Arizona, and she was going to Japan to teach a lesson. And I could show her on a tool to take her entire course and have it translated to Japanese, even the signage and the pictures and so on, in a matter of minutes, right? So it's something different than we've ever had in the past. And
that's really incredible.
It really is.
And so there are advantages to that if you were traveling and you didn't speak the language and you could have talking to your phone, have it, I know you can, and have it translated so that the person can understand it. Actually, there was someone speaking Spanish to me but I don't speak Spanish, and she didn't speak English. And she talked into her phone so that, she could tell me something. So, I mean, it is there to do that, and that's a helpful thing.
And on the flip side, there's applications out there now. If I want to learn Spanish, I have it available 24/7, and it can talk to me live and correct me and engage me in conversations and so on. So, it really is, it's an interesting time we're going into. I don't think anyone can really predict where this is going to lead to, but I think it is critical, and it's, again, why we went for the grant, is that I really believe educators have to be on top of this, and they have to understand it, and we're going to have to train our citizenry on it as well.
Yeah, I think so, because they could be given a lot of false information about something, and something crucial, incoming, planes or bombs or something, and it looks so real that you don't know
exactly
if that's true or not.
Yeah.
So I guess that's why our country is so involved in making sure that we're hopefully steps ahead other countries with learning AI and so forth. So, or getting the people ready to, and building all these structures to use AI. Do you feel like, kind of crystal ball, looking into the future, that, in your home, you'll, be able to use it, the population to, control, which I guess we kind of do that now, but where you completely have an electronic AI situation in your home where you can have, someone watching your children or whatever.
This is a hard one to predict.
Yeah.
I was at a show a couple months ago, and they literally had a cobot, which is like a robot that like connects to a human and does things, right? So just like hanging drywall in construction, they literally had where the individual could have the cobot pick up the piece of drywall and hold it perfectly while they screwed it in, right? Or you could buy another arm that would screw it in for you, right? Where's it going to lead to? I don't think anyone can really predict exactly where we're going to be in the next 5 years. I think it's going to be an exciting time. It could be a scary time if we don't have a good understanding of it and have some types of controls over it. But this is going to be a much more impactful change than any of the technologies that we've witnessed over the last 30, 40 years.
Wow, okay. Now, do you have a lot of students who are like, I'm all about this, and I want to learn everything?
Yeah, I mean, that's the part that scares me, is I found we have a lot of our students that are far more knowledgeable than faculty members. So it's absolutely critical that our faculty become knowledgeable about this, how to use it, and then how to control it. Because like you said, this can become the great crutch, or it can really become a tool that helps us really expand education, deeper education, more engaging education. So I really feel, education is probably the most important area to invest in as far as, where we're going to be with AI in the next 5-10 years.
Okay. So I would say then more classes in technology, AI education would be opening up at Moraine Valley.
And even how it's used in every, there's AI tools for every discipline you could imagine. It's unbelievable. Chemistry, there's AI tools out there that can solve every chemical equation. You go into manufacturing, there's tools out there that can program and help us design just about any application that's out there. The one that really is amazing is programming and computer science. I can have it write a program in seconds that might take a programming team, a week or months to write that program.
And it can be just done.
Yeah.
But how do we check for accuracy?
That's the biggest challenge. I mean, that's what I'm really focused on in our programs, is how do you validate that data? And there are very spelled out methods and ways to do it. But as it becomes more accurate, it's finding that needle in the haystack. It becomes a greater challenge. So and that's, to me as an educator, I feel that's one of my greatest responsibilities going forward, is how do we teach students to validate this information?
Do you see something like AI being able to solve, the cure for cancer kind of thing?
It's already had a major impact in many fields, like physics. I mean, I think you've probably read about some of the changes from the Big Bang Theory. It's proved that some of the mathematics don't make sense.
Oh.
Yeah. So, and in like the medical field, we've found that it's done diagnostics that doctors have missed. I mean, just recently there's been, some rare cases that they used AI in helping diagnose a problem, and it identified it almost immediately. And the doctors were like, yeah, this was the actual, issue.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's great potential.
And there's great
But
trouble ahead.
exactly. So, yeah.
Oh gosh. Okay. How does someone start building AI literacy? I mean, just everybody, we're not all in college anymore, and we don't, I don't have information at my fingertips. I guess I really do. If you got a computer, you got information at your fingertips. But how would I learn, or our viewers learn, more AI literacy? How would we go about doing that?
So I don't know if I should say this or not, but I would say, you probably want to look at like podcasts that are out there for basic AI. I mean, I could just give you a simple example. I worked with some family members, just a couple months ago. They were planning a vacation, and they wanted to see all the lighthouses around Lake Michigan. Well, AI could go in and identify every one of those, and then create a Google map that had every one of the lighthouses where they're located. Develop a path how to get there. What hotels would you stay at if you wanted to visit these? What restaurants? And just things like that initially. But I think what we're going to find in the very near future, there's going to be a lot of very specific tools that individuals will have that they'll want to use. And you can see that's how they're going to monetize this. So that's, but I would really look at, online content and how are other people using it in just their general lives and so on,
Okay, and just don't be afraid. Just find out about it. You might, I have some friends that are like so excited because, you can find out stuff really easily. And that tool, like a vacation kind of thing, that would be
Yeah, every morning I get
great.
up, I actually go and look at what are the new tools that have come out, what can they do, how do they work, and I want to go in and play with them.
Okay, that sounds like fun, especially if you're really, really into it. I think you've talked about how this is reshaping learning and in the college environment, and it sounds like it's really doing that very well. And with the leadership that you're giving the school as far as the faculty learning, I think that's really important because the students can be light years ahead of the faculty with something like this, and you want to keep abreast of that. And for other people, the suggestion that just kind of jump in and listen to podcasts.
And I would say take a class. Come
class.
to college and take a, even if it's a non-credit community class, come in and just play with it and see what it can do.
Yeah, that's probably a great idea.
Yeah.
Because then maybe you would be able to accept what is inevitable.
Yeah.
And for some of the older generation.
Like there's tools out there that we can teach you that, let's say you have an old photo album. We can teach you tools. You can use your phone to take pictures, and it basically will crop each one, title it, organize them for you. Something that might take you, you could either send out to have done as for someone to do it for you, or you could have it do it for yourself.
Okay, I need that. I've got boxes of photographs.
And the beauty is it will not only do that, but it will restore some of those that, let's say they've lost their color or the picture's degrading. It can actually regenerate those pictures.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It was probably about a year ago, my son took a picture of my dad, and he was in his military uniform. He was in World War II. And he had, I'm sure it's much more sophisticated now, but he had my dad, kind of moving around and kind of looking at us. It was a little scary.
I know.
And I'm like, oh, that's Dad doing that. That's kind of weird. But it was also kind of like interesting for his children to go, oh, that was great grandpa,
like,
not just a flat picture, but it gave a more lifelike look of it. So I'm sure it's more advanced than that now.
Yeah, and it's getting better. I've done that with several of our photos, and I knew the person when they're alive, so when it brings them back alive, sometimes it does a good job, sometimes it doesn't. Again, you got to validate that data. Is it actually accurate?
Yeah, exactly.
So I always show a tool that I've used. So I took like 3 headshots of myself because I needed some updated pictures I was going to use for classes. And it would literally generate like 100 pictures, and I could tell it what kind of clothing I wanted to be in, what type of lighting, where do I want the picture taken, inside or outside, what do I want the background to look like. And it created 100 different pictures that I could then use as headshots, And most of them were very accurate. So
Wow.
yeah, and what I liked, I could take something from when I was, let's say, 25 years ago, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, and it can sort of, take all of those things into consideration and end up with a better picture, Yeah.
Well, I like that, kind of like different hairstyle, a little more makeup. I think away some of these wrinkles. Honestly, that's me. Okay, well, that is fun to do. I don't know if there's anything else about this grant. I mean, the grant is great because you've got some money to use to educate people. I mean, has that grant been utilized already?
Yes, it started in October. What I really like about this grant is that we'll be working with 4 other significant community colleges across the country, and they're going to have teams. So we're going to have a team at the college that represent multiple areas across the college, from social sciences to health sciences to physical science, career and technical programs, English, math. And they'll sort of serve as leaders for other people in those areas. And then they'll get to work with the same type of representatives from 4 other colleges and learn from each other. There's a lot of challenges we have in the future too. Everything from licensing these technologies to making sure what we put up on these technologies is private. I mean, we have to protect students' privacy information and so on. So there's a lot of challenges. But this is a start, and we'll probably go after more funding in the future to help with these things and help other schools implement it.
Anything else we need to know?
Well, I'd basically just say that one of the things that we're going to try to do here in the near future also is to help our local businesses have a better understanding of how they can leverage it as well. And that's probably the next area where we're probably going to try to host a annual conference at Moraine for business leaders, that we can have them come in and learn from what we're doing and potentially benefit from it.
Oh, that's a fantastic idea. Really gives them the opportunity to learn how that can help their business. Yeah. Well, I'm really glad that we have people like you who will plunge ahead and learn this stuff, and that's good. And I guess I want to mention to the viewers that, don't be afraid. Learn about it because it's here. And take a class, find a podcast, and, you can use it yourself for things that John suggested even. It sounds like some really great ideas.
Yeah, and use Moraine as a resource, because I think one of the things we're going to try to do is help our citizens in our district better understand this and how they can use it.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's good. Well, thank you so much. It was so interesting.
Well, thanks for the invitation.
Yeah, I really appreciate your visit with us today. Well, thanks for watching us, and we'll see you next time. We've got always some really fascinating information for you. As you can tell today, this is a whole bunch of information that most of us don't know a whole lot about. So thanks again for watching us. We'll see you next month on Meet with Moraine. Bye for now.